Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh to everybody here. Thank you for having me and thank you for joining this session. So it's my first time using Discord, my first time doing a session like this. It's really interesting. So if you have any questions, while listening to the talk or unrelated questions, it doesn't matter. Please drop them in the question box section, I believe, and then I will address them after the talk as well. So just a bit of background. I'm from Malaysia, so currently it's 11 p.m. here. So if I start yawning or coughing or things like that, please forgive me because it's midnight, going to be midnight here. Okay. So my topic for today, and being the first lecture, I suppose, it's going to be on the formation of Khalsapanth. So how did it all start? What was the process like? And then leading up to 1699. And I'll be doing this talk in majority in English. So I guess that's fine, right, Viji? Is that okay? Gurkaram, Viji?
Haji, of course.
Okay, all right. So that's great. Okay, so again, my topic is on the formation of Khalsapanth, and what I'm going to speak about is how Khalsapanth was not just, when we hear the saying Rome was not built in a day, right? So it was the same thing for Khalsapanth as well. It was not just built in a day, just on the day of April 1699. It was, Paragat on that day. Paragat means when something is known to the world on that day. But the creation, the preparation, the planting of the seed, everything began from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. In fact, everything began from Akal Purakh, Vaheguru Ji. How do we know this? Because Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, Khalsa Akal Purakh ki Fauj, Pargatyo Khalsa, Paramatam ki Fauj. So Khalsa is Paragat, has been known to the world because of Paramatma. It was the Mauj, it was the basically the wish of Paramatma for the creation of Khalsapanth. Hana? So to be a part of this Panth, we all should be feeling grateful that we are a part of this Panth because it is a Nyara Panth. Nyara means different, it's unique, it doesn't follow the way of the world. It has its own path, it has its own way, and we are only answerable to one and only Akal Purakh, nobody else. No human, no government, no country, but only to Akal Purakh. So how is it that Khalsapanth was, the preparation started from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji? How does it connect, right? Bhai Gurdas Ji say in their var, so if you don't understand any panktiyan or, you're not really sure of any part of the history, just put it in the question box and then I can clarify later. So Bhai Gurdas Ji says in their var, Marya Sikha Jagatara Vich Nanak Nirmal Panth Chalaya. They say that Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they established the authority. Nanak Nirmal Panth Chalaya, that Guru Nanak Dev Ji started a Nirmal Panth. Nirmal here means pure, without any mal. Khalsa also means pure, without any mal. So basically it's the same meaning, the same word. Nirmal Panth. So Khalsa Panth Chalaya, started. Hai? So the aspect of Miri Piri was also established from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji itself. And we can understand this from Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which we also call the Babar Vani. Babar Vani means when Guru Nanak Dev Ji is speaking about how Babur, the first Mughal emperor, invaded Hindustan and what kind of injustice he did. So Guru Sahib says, Paap ki janjle kablo hotaya, jori mange danve lalo. So we must be familiar with Pai Lalo Ji Sakhi and all that. So this is Guru Sahib speaking to Pai Lalo Ji when they came back from their Udasi and they saw that Babur has invaded Hindustan. And Guru Sahib says he's brought this janja of Paap and Saram Taram, do Chapakloe, Saram Taram, modesty Taram, righteousness, everything has gone. It's gone. Koor fire pardhan ve lalo. And now what's pardhan? What has become the leader is koor, it's falsehood, right? So what has happened is that the Miri aspect has been violated, so it's more dominating. So now the question is, what is Miri Piri, right? So Miri is the temporal power, the political power. Rajniti keh sakde hain, like basically it's more like political power. And Piri is basically the spiritual power. So we say those religious aspect of the dharma. People who were dharmic, so at that point, perhaps the two biggest religion, the Hindu religion and the Islam religion, they were practicing piri and fear, right? Because why? Because now Kur Pardhan has come into Hindustan. And everybody was practicing their dharma in fear. How practicing in fear? Is that whatever their dharma would be preaching, whatever Veda, Puran, Shastras are preaching, they would tweak it around to also make the Mughal emperor happy at that time. So which means that certain practices that are not allowed within the Mughal emperor, they would not even practice it. Because why? They just want to save themselves. This is how people were practicing dharma at that time. Guru Sahib says in Asa Diwar, Go Brahman ko kar labho, gobar taran na jai. Right? So Guru Sahib is speaking about the pakhanda here happening. Toti tikka tejapamali tan militia khai, that they wear this toti, they put this tikka on their forehead and they do everything within what their religion teaches them. But then tan militia khai, but then they're eating the wealth of the militia, the Mughals. Antar puja padhe kateba, from within you're performing your own puja based on your own religion, but from outside you're reading the Al-Quran, because why? You want to please the Mughal empire at that point. So how can one practice dharma in fear when dharma in itself is supposed to take us out from fear? This is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji was trying to preach, trying to tell and open the eyes of the whole world that dharma, ਡਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਧਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ. ਧਰਮ is meant to make us nirpau and nirvair. So basically what has happened is that the whole concept of dharma, the whole concept of practicing your dharma has changed from being fearless to practicing it in fear. So chodile pakhanda suna, that's why Guru Sahib says chodile, leave the pakhanda that you're doing, naam laiye jahe taranda, right? So Guru Sahib was addressing everybody wherever they went. They told them, be dharma kiddan practice karna. Sach de marg te kiddan torna. How are you supposed to walk on the path of truth? Become nirmal, become pure, without any mal within you, without any fear, duality, fear not of Paramatma, but fear of the world, which if you think about it, many of us are in. And Khalsa is one who does not fear the world. Khalsa is only answerable to Akal Purkh. So what Guru Nanak Dev Ji then did was then they went on Udasya, they did Parchar, so that the Miri aspect could balance the Piri. It was very important that both Miri Piri aspect has to be a balanced, we can call it system. Hana? That's why Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, when they formalized the Miri Piri aspect, they told that a Sikh has to be a Sant and a Sipahi. The concept of Bani Bana, the concept of Sant Sipahi, the Miri Piri concept, right? And then you have many good Sikhs, for example, like Baba Deep Singh Ji. They were a general. They had an army, they were leading an army, the Misal Shahida. But when a Sikh used to come and join Misal Shahida, come to Baba Deep Singh Ji and say that I want to join the Khalsa Forge, they were not even allowed to be a part of the forge until they could do Jabri Sahib. Not just one, but many Jabri Sahib, because Baba Deep Singh Ji's rahat was that they would do 101 Jabri Sahib. So, Bani Parke andar jodo mail nikal gayi, when now the mind is pure, one can think rationally, one can control the mind rather than a mind controlling the person. Then only Baba Deep Singh Ji allows them to enter the Gatka Akhada and learn Shastar Vidya. So this was then how the concept of Meri Piri was formalized during time Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. So back to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they went to Udasiyan, they did a prachar, and then that's why in Siddh Ghost, the question was asked by the Siddhs to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, why have you left your Gristi Jeevan? Because they were married by then. Why have you left your Gristi Jeevan? And why are you going around doing prachar, meeting all the Siddha, meeting all the Udasis and so on to preach about Dharam? Then Guru Sahib says, Gurmukh khojat paye udasi. I'm going on Udasya to search for Gurmukhs, to search for those who live in accordance to Akal Purakh, live in accordance to Hukam, not those who live accordance to the Hukam or to the command of the world. So this Persian historian called Mohsen Fani, in fact, Sangaji, if we look at our Sikh Itihas, we have our Itihas written by our own Sikh scholars, by Ratan Singh Pangu, Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, great scholars. But then we also have the Sikh Itihas written by other faiths as well. We have the Persian historians who have written on our Sikh Itihas, especially on the Shahidi of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, on the Shahidi of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and even on the Udasi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji as well. So this Mohsen Fani Persian historian, he said that wherever Guru Nanak Dev Ji went, they created the concept of Sangat. That's why in Sikhi, there are 3 S words that we have to abide to. We cannot, every Sikha, in fact, Sikh starts with S, but every Sikha should have these 3 S, S words in their life. I'm not going to say S's because that sounds bad, but, so what are the 3 words starting with S is Sangat, Seva and Simran. Ek Sikha de kol, we cannot survive without Sangat, we cannot survive without Simran, we cannot survive without Seva. These 3 are the core principle that Guru Nanak Dev Ji has been teaching, and they are in accordance to what we learn Kirt Karin Naam Japna Van Ke Shakna. So wherever Guru Nanak Dev Ji went, they created Sangat and they invoked the spirit of Satya. Satya det marakte chalana, which means one who only follows the path of truth is never going to fear the world. So you think about it, Sangaji, now we are in this Kaljuk Samahana. It's so sad to see. I was just having a conversation with my husband that we have actually gone back to the time before Guru Nanak Dev Ji, where everybody was so afraid about the world and they were practicing Dharam in fear. How are we like that now? How is it that we have gone back to that system? Think about our lives. Are we not afraid with how people think about our appearance? So, a boy, a girl, we are so afraid with what people will think about us, how people judge us, what kind of opinions they would have on us. Especially now that social media is so readily available, the moment someone says just one sentence negative towards us, we just go down the road of anxiety, the road of like thinking, endless thinking and worry that, this person has said this to me, why? Right? And old gal chado, but even to practice Sikhi Rahat, we are going through a lot of this issue in Malaysia. I'm not sure about the other countries. Maybe you can, share your experiences wherever you are. But now that, the whole country, the whole nation, the whole world was under lockdown for almost over a year, people has been seeking for affirmation from outside, means social media, from the outside world. And so there's a lot of this issue with our youth not willing to keep case, not willing to keep rahat because of the fear that they are going to lose their so-called sangat or their so-called friends, which is not their sangat in the first place, because sangat should be inspiring us to walk on the path of Guru, not the other way around. So our idea of satsang, our idea of sangat has completely changed to the sangat that the idea before Guru Nanak Dev Ji, so not the inspiring one. Hana? So we are so afraid that no, Jimmy case rakle, or if I become vegetarian, I'm going to lose my circle of friends. People are going to judge me and say, oh, this is the thing that's going around. Bale astu, bale kattar ho gaya. So if you don't understand what kattar means, but it means someone who's so strict, you know, you can't mix around with the world. You're not simple anymore. Your lifestyle has become more difficult. So we are living in the fear of the world, and because of this, we are not practicing what our Guru has actually told us to do. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji, their whole life they have spent in destroying this idea of being fearful of the world, the opinions of the world. That's why Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, "Jab lag Khalsa rahe niyara." Niyara means different from the world. Tab lag tej diyo mein sara. Jab ek gaye bipran ki reed, when they started following the path of the world, which means basically the opposite of what Guru Sahib is telling us to do. Main na karo inki parti, then basically they have not left me any space in their life to bring changes to transform their life. So Guru Sahib is saying there's no space for me in their life anymore. Main na karo inki parti, then I can't help them. And that's what actually is happening to each one of us. We are not allowing that transformation to take place. So back to now, the creation of Khalsapanth, the formation of Khalsapanth. Guru Nanak Dev Ji then did this their whole life until they came to a point where they then came back to Kartarpur. They established Kartarpur side. So the Patta, if we read Pattan de Savaye, which is in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Pattan de Savaye means each Patta has specifically written their Savaye on and each of the Gurus. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji to leke Guru Arjan Dev Ji tak. And if you read the Savaye of Savaye Mele Pehle ke on Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the Patta, they call this the formation of Raj Jog. Kab kal sujas gavo Guru Nanak Raj Jog Janamaniya. Look at that. Means the formation of Raj, the formation of this Panth, this reign started by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So now the Guruship has been passed on to Guru Angad Dev Ji. And look at this. From the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, if someone wants to become a Sikh of the Guru, they take Charan Paul de Amrit. Charan Paul Amrit means the Guru dips their toes into the pani, into the jala, and that Amrit is then being administered into the Sikh. The Sikh will administer the Amrit, and then basically that is the initiation ceremony, right? And an initiation ceremony is very important for us because that marks basically the start of a new life. Just like when we start a new job, we always go through orientation. We have this offer letter given to us. You have this interviews with your managers, with your hiring managers and all of that, because it brings a mindset that that's it. I've now got this job. I've got the offer letter. There's no turning back from this. Basically, I'm already in it, So that has been practiced from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji right until Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and then the standardization came from Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Why that happened, we will understand that as well. Now, Guru Angad Dev Ji, how their contribution towards the formation of Khalsapanth, what was it? Guru Angad Dev Ji, they started Mal Akhada, wrestling rings, and they did prachar that a Sikh should be physically fit as well. So both, and imagine Guru Angad Dev Ji is one of the Guru who is full of Bairag. Bairag means they were detached from the world. For them, their whole life is about Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They were not bothered about anything else. They were just immersed in the love for Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And yet within that love, within that detachment, they created this malakara, this practice, a daily practice where the youth, the jawaka, the children would come in the afternoon to Guru Angad Dev Ji's place in Khadur Sahib, and they would do mal akhada, so like wrestling, like for example kabaddi, or they had Shastar Vidya then as well, but we don't call it Gatka. Gatka is also something new that came about, है ना? But Shastar Vidya, wrestling, kabaddi, and all of this that would make the Sikhs physically fit, right? So, and then we could see Guru Angad Dev Ji. So look at this. Guru Angad Dev Ji is someone who's so komal, whose their speech is all about love and all about nimrata. But when Humayun, the son of Babur, came, and Humayun, when he demanded to speak to Guru Angad Dev Ji. But Guru Angad Dev Ji, at that point, they were teaching Gurumukhi to the kids. And Guru Sahib says, you have to wait because this is more important. And Humayun, at that point, because he just lost the battle to Sher Shah Suri, and it was an embarrassing battle that he lost, right? But because he was so egoistic, he was about to take his Sri Sahib out from his Mian, and Guru Angad Dev Ji said, why now? Why are you lifting it out now when you're supposed to take out your sword in the battlefield? What's the point of doing it now? So despite, you can see here the concept of Sant Sipahi was already being practiced by the Guru. They were both a saint, but when needed, they became a Sipahi as well. And Humayun became so embarrassed and he left that place. So then, and each Guru, if you see this, Sangaji, they never stayed in one place. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they established Kartarpur Sahib. Then Guru Angad Dev Ji, they established Khadur Sahib. And each Guru Sahiban, they established their own town. Now, this was a way to enlarge the reign of Khalsapanth. Guru Amardas Ji, during their time, now many of you might know the Bollywood movie of Jodha Akbar. So the Akbar Badshah in that movie is the same Akbar Badshah during the time of Guru Amardas Ji. And I watched that movie the second time. And in that movie as well, this Akbar Badshah has even stated that these Rajputs who serve the Shastar, so basically like how Khalsapanth, for us, Sadevase Shastar is also, we do puja of our Shastars, right? Guru Gobind Singh Ji says Shastran ke adeen hai Raj. So we do puja of Shastars. And then this Akbar Badshah is saying in that movie that these Rajputs, these warriors, Shastra no tilak lagvaun wale, right? So that Akbar Badshah in that movie, you will see that he has removed or he abolished the system of Yatri tax. Yatri tax means anybody who wants to go for Yatra, means the Hindu Yatra, Tirath Yatra, they have to pay tax. And people were poor at that time. And many came to Guru Amardas Ji saying that this is happening. The empire is just looting us, of our rights to go to Yatra. And Gurbani says, now look at this is so interesting. Aad dam kich paya na bolak jagatya mohan mundan pai pai ham karhe kya. Now the people are saying, those the officers in the Mughal Empire are saying, pai hum karhe kya, kis paas mang hai, who should we ask from? Sab paag Sadguru piche pai, that every yatri, if we ask text from them, they just run after the Guru. They just follow the Guru because they know that we will not ask any text from the Guru. And at that point then, when Akbar Badshah came to meet Guru Amardas Ji, we know the famous Sakhi where Akbar Badshah had to sit in langar together with the poor, the beggars, the Sikh. And when Akbar Badshah met Guru Amardas Ji, Guru Sahib told him that you should remove the Yatri tax because you're not doing any good to the people. And if you want the love of the people, you should listen to their plea. And so Akbar Badshah then removed the Yatri tax, and you can see that in the movie as well. And in fact, Akbar Badshah was so happy. He was amazed by the Gurukar that he even donated land to Bibi Ji. So then we go on to Guru Ramdas' time. Now Guru Ramdas' time was, you can see a lot of transformation happening, where the idea or the concept of creating a central point for the Sikhs came about. So that's when the Amritsar Shahar was created, right? The formation of the foundation of Harmandir Sahib was being built. And this was important because the idea of a meeting point for all the Sikh Panth is necessary for this Khalsapanth, a central point where all the decisions of the Panth could be made, where the Sikhs could gather together, make major decisions for the Panth, select leaders as well, solve issues, solve problems. And so then the central point, the Amritsar Shahar was created, Harmandir Sahib was established. And then during the time of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, this continued as well, where they formalized the Aad Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and then made that central point even strong, telling the Sangha that, come to Harmandir Sahib and then meet the Guru. So any issue, people used to, from Kabul, Afghanistan to Sangat on the Sikhi Amritsar Sahib, just to meet the Guru. So that became the central point for the Sikhs at that point. Guru Arjan Dev Ji's time, there was a major turning point in the Panth where Guru Sahib gave Shahidi for the Panth. That's why he called them the Shahidan de Sartaj, the crown of each Shahid. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, their foundation was love, was truth, independence, fearlessness. Guru Arjan Dev Ji proved that point, and their Shahidi became a waking up call for all the Panth. Because everything by then was going on smoothly. I mean, even to the point where the relation between the Mughal emperor with the Guru Sahiban was not that, but was okay, right? Where the Mughal emperor was respecting the Guru Sahiban. But then at this point, Jahangir has become the Badshah, and he has caused Guru Sahib's Shahidi to take place. But we cannot say that he was the cause behind it. In fact, it was the hukum of Kalpur. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, that's why they say, Tera kiya meetha lage. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they agreed, they wanted this Shahidi to take place because it was a necessary wake-up call to the Sikhs. When the Shahidi took place, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, a very young child at that time, they were not full of sorrow. They didn't have sorrow in them, but they were full of Josh. This was basically a turning point where now Guru Sahib is saying that that's it. All this while, a Sikh has been practicing the Piri aspect. So basically now, remember when initially Guru Nanak Dev Ji said that the temporal power, the political power has become so corrupted that people are practicing Dharam in fear. So the whole period from the first Guru till the fifth Guru, you can see that each Guru Sahiban is trying to evoke that necessity to practice Piri, spirituality, in fearlessness, right? The Dharam, Sacha Marg. And now that the Sikhs are strong in that, the concept of the true Miri has to come in. We have to show the world on how to have a true reign, on how to have the true temporal and political power, how to basically become a Panth, a Nirmal Panth, right? An example was needed to show the world, to show the Mughal Empire, which was basically destroying everybody. So Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, they introduced then the concept of Miri Piri, that each Sikh should be Shastartari, and that if you want to come and meet me, bring horses, bring me elephants, bring me, other animals, owls, eagles, bring me Shastars. And it would be my joy, it would be, I would be very happy with you if you come and join the Akhada, join the army, the forge basically, and learn Shastar Vidya. And the head of Shastar Vidya at that time was Baba Buddha Ji. Baba Buddha Ji themselves actually taught Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Shastar Vidya. Then you think about it, Baba Buddha Ji, I mean, they're so old, they're about 90 plus, and they are teaching Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Shastar Vidya, which means that they must have been learning Shastar Vidya from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Which means that the Shastar Vidya Gyan would have been a practice from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, because it was during Guru Angad Dev Ji where they had the Mal Akhada. So if we reflect on our life now, how many, I'm talking about myself as well, Sangaji. I'm not, questioning anybody here. But then, how well versed are we in Shastar Vidya? I mean, Hola Mahalla just passed, and it's so amazing to see our Khalsas riding on horses, standing on horses and charging in the field, doing, all these stunts and all in the field with their shastars, with their gurpai, with their horses and all. And I asked myself this question, especially last year when we had the Shahidi Samagam Katha from Saka Chamkor to Saka Sarhand. I asked myself this question every night, that if now war is to break, let's say we are going to have a world war, or basically any war where the Khalsas now we are going to be a part of the war, we are going to fight for justice. How ready are we to carry a weapon and fight? I mean, are we, number one, physically fit? Are we well versed in Shastar Vidya? The very least, are we even joining any Gatka Akhada? Right? Can we even lift our Shastar? Look at yourself, even those Amritari, look at our Karpan and see, is our Karpan even sharp? Because now, many a times, our Karpans are so dull and rusted, and it's not even functionable. You can't even use it, right? So then there's no concept of Tyar Bar Tyar, because Tyar Bar Tyar Sikh, Tyar Bar Tyar Khalsa means like at any point you need to use your shastar, you need to protect somebody, you need to take off your dastar to save someone's izzat. You must be ready there and then. So we must ask ourselves this question: am I ready for any moment? Am I Tyar Bar Tyar in any moment? Guru Sahib themselves, they used to sleep with shastar in their hand. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, right? The moment they hear any sound, that's how when the two brothers came into the tent to stab Guru Gobind Singh Ji, how is it possible that that one of the brother got killed and one got hurt by Guru Gobind Singh Ji? Because they always held their shastar, their Sri Sahib in their hand, even when they were in the Machiwara jungle as well. So going back to Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, so they started this system of everybody now, getting into the forge, practicing Shastar Vidya, right? And they started Tadiwar Jatha as well, Tadiwara, where people used to listen to Tadiwara, to heroic ballads and all, and they used to get Josh. Now, many people are even questioning, we can't read the Sambarniya, or there's too much Hindu mythology in it. It's not the Bani of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. I'm sorry to bring this up, Sangaji, but why are we questioning when we have not even experienced it ourselves? Chandi Diwar par ke dekho. As a Bibi, as a woman myself, there are many times where even I too lack confidence. So I just need that booster just to lift my confidence, to know that my guru is with me when I'm about to do a katha, when I'm about to give a talk, or if I'm about to travel, or if there's a discussion, I need to be able to, speak up, speak the truth. What I do is I listen to the Bani of Chandi Diwar. And that gives me that energy, that confidence, right? And so it's the same thing as well. So Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji started this concept, this idea of Tadiwara Jatha, where the Sikhs used to listen and they used to get so uplifted, full of energy, bir rasa. History says, do talwari baddiyan, ek mir di, ek peer di, ek ajmat di, ek raj di, ek rakhe kare wazir di. That two talwars were worn, Miri and Piri. One is to protect the religion. One is to use for Raj, for political power. So this was then the time of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, where the change came about. And then one of the greatest things that happened was that the formation, the construction of Akal Takht Sahib. Akal Takht, meaning the throne of the timeless one. So this is already telling us that a Khalsapanth, just like how Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, Khalsa Akal Purkh ki Fauj. So who is sitting on the throne is only Akal Purkh. Hence Akal Takht. We are only answerable to Akal Takht. We only follow Akal Takht. Now there might be issue as well. Many people don't really follow, and so on. But that's a different topic. But Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji established Akal Takht so that the Khalsa, first of all, that becomes the congregation point. That becomes the meeting point for Khalsas to come and make decisions, to solve issues, and just to get together for anything related to the Panth. Second thing, all the hukamnames, all the orders, the command, the rules, the regulation, basically the law comes from Akal Takht, and everybody has to adhere to it. Even until now, that is the case as well. Look at that, right? I guess I'm not sure about the other Panth, but Khalsapanth is one where we are so unified, even though we have differences within the Panth itself, but we are still yet so unified that until now we only have one being on the Takht. It was then, it is still is, and it will always be. That is Akal Purkh Vaheguru, nobody else. So Gurbilas Pashahi Shemi by Kavi Bhagat Singh, the knee patthar, who put the foundation of this Akal Takht? It has to be someone of caliber as well. Kar Ardas Sri Satgur Put Prasad Vartai Pritham Neev Sri Guru Rakhi. The first knee, the foundation was placed by the Guru themselves. Abjal Takht Sahai. Kisi Raj ne haath lagabo, and nobody else was allowed to touch this foundation. Who helped Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji to place the foundation of Akal Takht? Buddhe or Gurdas Banayo. Baba Buddha Ji and Pai Gurdas Ji. The two very, very strong personalities, the two most respected Gur Sikhs. One was a Brahmgyani, and one was the one who wrote who basically was the Likhari of Ad Guru Granth Sahib Ji, who wrote their vars, whose bani, whose vara is accepted, parvan by the Guru, to be sung in Sangat in the Gurudwaras. These two Gursikhs, alongside Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, they placed the foundation of Sri Akal Takht Sahib. That's why until now, if you think about it, whenever anybody tried to destroy Khalsapanth, where was the main point that they will attack? Amritsar, Harmandir Sahib and Akal Takht. Because like I mentioned earlier as well, Harmandir Sahib became a central point of getting together for the Sikhs, where they could practice the Piri. Akal Takht became the central point of the Sikhs of the Khalsa, where they could practice Miri. And so even the Indian government, even the British government as well, when they came to take over Khalsa Raj from Maharaja Ranjit Singh, they all went through Akal Takht. They all had to basically get into Harmandir Sahib, get into the committee, get into the political reign of Akal Takht, so that they could make changes into the Khalsapanth. And that, of course, that didn't last very long, right? So then Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji's time, Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji was blessed by Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji and said that there will be no war during your time. It will be a very peaceful reign. But Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji, to portray the spirit of Miri Piri, portray the spirit of Khalsapanth, they would have 2,200 Tiyar bar Tiyar soldiers, Sikhs with them at all times. Their mahal would be filled with elephants, with horses. It was basically showing the Pantha that this is how Khalsa Raj looks like, where everybody lives at peace. And the Khalsa Panth would be the richest Panth amongst all the other Panth in the world. And Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji did one thing, that they helped Dara Shikoh, the brother of Aurangzeb. One was they helped them medically. Second was that they supported Dara Shikoh's claim to the throne. But then it was then Aurangzeb who then decided to kill his brothers, to torture his own father, just so that he could become the emperor. Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji, they refused to meet Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb was so adamant that he wanted to have darshan of Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji, being the youngest guru, and they they basically, in Delhi, we know the itihas where they cured the disease of all the Sikhs, all the people in Delhi, and Aurangzeb just wanted to meet Guru Harkrishna Sahib Ji, but even until the end of their life, Guru Harkrishna Sahib Ji never even allowed Aurangzeb to see their face. Even as Guru Sahib's body was lying down there, Aurangzeb said that now nobody can stop me because Guru Sahib has gone. Jyoti Jyot sama gaye. And then at that point when Aurangzeb just about to lift the chadar on top of Guru Sahib's body, immediately at that point, what happened was that when Aurangzeb looked down, he saw as if the earth has split up and he could see the fire of hell beneath him. And at that point, he got so scared, he just dropped the chadar and he ran back to his mahal, to his darbar. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, again, another very important turning point in the Panth was that when they accepted Shahidi to ensure the freedom of Dharm. You see, Khalsapanth, the Tisra Mazhab that Guru Gobind Singh Ji says, the Tisra Mazhab, the third religion, the Dharm, that is born in this world, it is not meant to basically rule over other dharms, but instead it is meant to protect everybody regardless of their religion, regardless of their race, caste, status. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji advocated for that when they stood up for the Kashmiri Pandits. And this is something very unique because Khalsa Panth, we don't force anybody to embrace the Panth just in order to help them or to basically so that they can have the benefits, right? But what we do is we protect anybody regardless. Guru Tegh Bahadur showed that example by accepting the Shahidi. Guru Gobind Singh Ji says in their Bani, Thikar for Dalis Ser, Prabhpur Kiya Payan, Tegh Bahadur Si, Kriya Karhina Kinhu An. Tegh Bahadur ke charat payo, Jagat ko sokh, hai, sab jag payo, Jai, Jai, Jai. Surilo Guru Gobind Singh Ji is saying this. In fact, after the Shahidi of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, Aurangzeb never lived at peace. He was not at peace because he knew that he has basically became the very reason of the end of the Mughal Empire by doing that. Because the reason is everyone tried to break the Pantha by either attacking the central point of the Pantha or attacking the very leader of the Panth. But it was never working at any time. So Aurangzeb then felt like, that's it. I've just dug my own grave. The Sikhs are not even mourning over the Shahidi of their leader, of their Guru. In fact, they have become even stronger, just like how the case for Guru Arjan Dev Ji was. They have become even stronger and now they are even more ready to fight for justice. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, again, they were very young. They were 9 years old when they saw their father's keys coming back from Delhi, Chandni Chowk to Anandpur Sahib. Now, this was a very important turning point which led to the Amrit Sanchar in 1699. Why was it important to have that Amrit Sanchar where thousands of Sikhs were gathered? So what were the thoughts of Guru Sahib? What were the important events during the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji that led to that Amrit Sanchar in 1699? The first one was the Shahidi of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. When Pai Jetta Ji brought Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji seas back from Chandni Chowk to Anandpur Sahib, the 10th Guru asked Pai Jetta Ji, they said, Sikha ta sade bahut honge. Means like there must have been many Sikhs of ours standing there, gathered, watching the Shahidi of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. And then Pai Sahib said, Ji, nishani ta nahi Sikhan di si, kise nu lagi. They said that, well, je koi Sikh hove ta sahi kare. Guru Sahib says that, Pai Sahib was saying that, well, there wasn't any nishani of a Sikh or any nishani that I could identify that this person was Sikh. And if there were Sikhs in that crowd, ta sahi kare, they would have done something about it. Which means that people were still living in fear that if I come forward and perhaps say something, I'm also going to be killed. Second thing, there was no nishani, there was no such insignia or form of a Sikh that would distinguish them from other people. Because think about it, Sangaji, the moment we have a physical form, now look at it. Let's say a crime is happening. Someone is breaking into a shop, or someone is about to, harm somebody else. And people, you watch these movies, people are gathered around that scene, when someone's beating somebody up, people just gather around and they're all normal people. Now, if within that crowd, there was a policeman or an army officer standing in his uniform, his or her uniform, what do you think will happen? All the crowd will be looking at that police officer, expecting him to do something, because the very reason that he has become a police officer, he has become an army officer, is to stand up for what's right, to stand up for justice. That's one, right? Which means that people have trust and faith in that police officer to do something about the crime that's taking place. Second thing is the person's own consciousness, the police officer's own consciousness will tell him that I have to do something because I have become a part of this police force, become a part of this army force, that I need to do something about it. If not, I will be disgracing my very police unit. I'll be disgracing my country. So there's both ways here. So Guru Sahib then thought that I will give such a symbol to my Khalsa that within the crowd of thousands, they would be recognized. They cannot be hidden. And any point people need help, they could look up for this Khalsa and go to them and seek for help. So now the question came was, who is supposed to be blessed with this Khalsa, with this Amrit di Daat? Now, Sangaji, there Amrit di Daat, there this Amrit that we, sadly, now there's two situations happening. Amrit is taken too lightly, which means that people are just taking Amrit and not practicing Rahat. And the second extreme that's happening is people are not willing to take Amrit because they do not want to be a part of the Panth, or they are just afraid to be a part of the Panth because of the expectations and discipline. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji actually thought through who is going to be blessed by this Daat, by this Amrit. In Panth Prakash, Paratha Singh Ji Pangu, they tell the Sakhi of this Amrit Sanchar, of what Guru Gobind Singh Ji was thinking about, the conversations they had with themselves and all. Guru Sahib says, in Greeb Singhan ko de Patshahi, ye yaad rakhe hamri Guriyai. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji decided that the Guriyai, the Pantha, will be given to Greeb Singhan, to the lowest caste people in India, in Hindustan at that time. So Hindustan meaning it was still not Pakistan, it was just one, right? And so who are these people? Well, surprisingly, I'm not sure whether, many of you will be surprised. One of them are the Jat. So, now we are so proud. We see online people say that, oh, I'm a Jatta. And then they have this, I don't know what they do, but like music videos of being a Jatta. And then they have these big cars and like they wear like so many golds, hara and stuff like that, trying to show that Jatta are people. I don't know what they're trying to show. I cannot even tell. But at one point, being a Jatta was one of the low caste, status in Hindustan. And Guru Sahib picked them up, and from low caste, from being poor, being unrespected, and being looked down upon by everyone, Guru Sahib just lifted them up and gave them Patshahi. And now that very thing that we're so proud of, which we shouldn't even be proud of, we should be grateful of, Guru Sahib is telling us that Tonu idda nahi mile, you didn't just get this Patshahi or become so well known and so well respected on your own. It was because I have blessed this Pachahi to you, and now the whole world respects you. Then we also have Tarkhan, carpenters, chimbas, tailors, gujjar, cheevers, like Pai Kanaya ji, who was a cheever, Pai Himmat Singh ji, Nai, barbers, Pai Sahib Singh ji, who was a barber from the barber caste as well, salt traders, Pai Makhan Shah Lubana, the salt traders, Kumyar, clay workers, all these 19 of the lowest caste in Hindustan, they were chosen to be given Pathshahi by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Look at so much of vadiyai Guru Sahib has given us. Je Guru Sahib ne nahi na sanu choose kita, if Guru Sahib didn't choose us to be blessed with this Pathshahi, with this Pantha, with the status of Khalsa, I really think that even until now we would be considered the lowest caste of people in India. But because Guru Sahib lifted us up, and from 1699, when they gave us that Amrati Dad, people were taking Amrit in the counts of thousands. Not hundreds, not tens, which is the case now, but in thousands. The thing, it started happening such that Amrit Sanchar had to take place almost every day and by many jathis. So you had the jatha of the Panj Pyare. And you had the jatha of the Panj Mukte. Panj Mukte are those 5 Gursikhs who took Amrit after the Panj Pyare. And they are called Panj Mukte. And so all these low caste people, you know, which we are also part of, if you trace back, we are also from that lineage. So like many of us would be from the lineage or from the, you know, family of Jatta. Many of us would be from the family of Tarkhan and so on. And the reason why we are now so blessed, we are now considered the 5th largest religion in the world. You don't see a Sikh beggar anywhere in the world. Even if there is, immediately something is being done. The Panth will do something about it. And that's because Guru Sahib has given us his Padshahi and made all this individual caste, removed the names of this individual caste and just made everybody one. Khalsa, that's it. That from now on, whether you're a Jatta, you're a Tarkhan, you're a Chimba, Cheever, Lubana, Kumyar, whatever, leave that aside. You're just Singh and Kaur. That's it. So hence the brotherhood, the sisterhood was established at that point as well. And there was a point, Sangaji, believe me, when reading the Itihasics say that the Sikhs were even scared. Guru Sahib says, "Tono pachai den lag gaya," and the Sikhs are like, "No, we are not ready for this because we are poor, we are low caste. How can we pick up weapon and fight?" Guru Sahib was thinking that I want to give them political power, and they're denying this. They're denying because they're so scared to even lift up weapon and fight for themselves. They rather live, you know, under that under that rule of other people. But Guru Sahib is saying, I want to make them their own Padsha, that they are not answerable to anybody, but only a Kalpurak. And so, what happened was that initiation ceremony was needed. Guru Sahib then started the ceremony, the initiation of Khande Bate da Paul. Khanda in itself a weapon, Sarbalo in itself, and then with Patase and Bani. It's just, I'm not going to go into that because there's many a katha. Pai Sukha Singh has done a really wonderful katha on the significance of each element of the Amrit Sanchar, and it's worth listening to really, because each element of the Amrit Sanchar was even well thought by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, you know, from the Bani, from the Bhatta to the Khanda, to the Patase, to the Panja. And so then the whole Amrit Sanchar then took place in 1699. And Guru Sahib basically just transformed a normal Sikh which is living in fear into a Khalsa, which is now their own Padsha, and they are not answerable to anyone, only a Kalpurak. Which means that when basically what has happened is that we have cut through all these middle people, and now we have a direct connection with the Kalpurak. And so what we need to do is simply just practice the rahat given to us by our Guru, to maintain that connection and to maintain that principle of a Khalsa. So that's why Guru Sahib then removed the system of the Masandas, but removed the system of submitting to anybody else. Sir gumiye, meeniye masandiye, jaan ram rahiye, tir maliye, incho melana man. Guru Sahib gave this rahat that do not associate with these people who deceive other people. Do not associate with people who destroy, who, put down other people. And basically who are they are not trustworthy. And so Guru Sahib then established the concept of the Fateh. So you also must have heard this in a katha. What is the meaning behind the Fateh when we say Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh? That is basically our identity. Who we are and what are we doing here? Who do we belong to? Our answer is there when people ask us. So hence, Guru Sahib ne Nyara Pantha idda sajaya that our greetings are different. We don't say hello. We don't say, hey, what's up? Because there's the reet of the world. But we say, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The moment we say this, people know, oh, this must be a Sikh. It's Sikh hoga. And people ask who you are, who do you believe in? What are you here for? Why are you dressed up like that? In your bana, in your dastar, with your panchakakar, you know what to say. And with the Amrit Sanchar, with the Khande Bate da Pahal, Guru Sahib has also blessed us with the Rahat as well. Now, one of the reasons I feel that a lot of us are very scared to take Amrit, to become a part of this Panth, is because we think that this Rahat is something so difficult to, take care of, maintain, and practice. It's funny because Guru Sahib has actually given us this Rahat to give us a simple life. Life becomes more miserable, more difficult, and more, I would say, like a jumbled up thing. Is more confusing when we do not have a set of discipline to follow. Look at what's happening in the world, right? When there's no set of rules and regulation, when there's no set of discipline or principles, people are just living their life haywire. Like there's no principles in anyone's life. Hence, all these things happening around the world which are just full of negativity because they don't have something to adhere their life to. Guru Sahib has given us that rahat for us to practice our life, to live our life in accordance to that rahat. But I don't understand why is that fear in practicing that rahat. And if you ask people, maybe the fear is, again, like I mentioned earlier, the fear of losing out in the society, the fear of not even losing out, missing out, I guess, missing out your, not having your normal circle of friends, or people judging you or calling you cutter, or you think that you're not able to take care of the rahat, or it's too difficult to maintain your case. You're worried about how people will look at you physically, and so on. But trust me, Sangaji, I wasn't born or raised in a Amritari family. Basically, my journey into Sikhi was also something I had to kind of learn on my own, go into Sangat, ask questions, learn, do ardasa, and then Guru Sahib basically just guide me throughout my jivan. For me was that I knew about this concept, this Amrit, Khande Bate Dipal, and I just had that yearning, that strong yearning to take it. And coming from a place, from a city where you don't have Amritaris, and in fact, you don't have a Dastar Tari Bibi. So having to fight that norm in the society, having to go through those judgments, having to be questioned, about your decision and all, I mean, is not easy. But if we constantly put our guru in front of us and say that I'm doing this not to make the world happy, because Gurbani tells us the truth, Sangaji. This world is not going to go with us. Why are we trying to please this world which is not going to go with us? But everybody is just living for their own matlab, for their own, purpose. We might be each other's friends. We might be even each other's family member. But when the time comes, it's our own journey towards Paramatma. It's our own journey towards death. So instead of trying to make the world happy, trying to please the world, which is constantly changing, tell me, Sangaji, one fashion trend that has, has been so consistent, or one fashion sense that has not been changing constantly. Like, we didn't had a concept of, I was just talking to my husband. 7 years ago, staying in this town, we didn't have a concept of paying our parking ticket with touch and go, like online, right? It was all with manual card. But now people are paying parking ticket with touch and go. The system is constantly changing. You always have to be up to date with this world. Social media is constantly upgrading. Now Facebook is for old people. I don't know what's new. TikTok, things like that. And then fashion sense is always changing. Concepts and ideas are always changing. And to always be a part of that change and constantly, trying to make yourself fit into that change, fit into the the path of this world is so tiring. Because you constantly have to change yourself just to please the world, just to fit into the world, which is constantly changing. Right? But Guru Sahib is saying that the path of Sikhi is nehchal, abchal nagar. Nehchal, something that is unmovable, unshakable. It has been from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It still is the way it is, Sikhi is, and it will still be the way it has been practiced by the Guru, has been taught by the Guru. The Rahat is one of them. Unchanging. Something that is constant, unchanging, and it cannot be taken away because Guru Sahib has already standardized it and legalized it and pargat kar into the world. So the concept of the Panch Kakar, the concept of our Char Kurehata, all this Sangaji is not to make our life more complicated, but rather is to make our life even simpler. And I can say this, मैं दावा करके कह सकती हूँ from my experience where my life was so full of this changes and living up to date with the fashion sense, with social media, trying to please the world. And it's so tiring to do that. And you don't meet the expectations of the world. You get into this whole road of depression, anxiety, and worry. And once I leave all that and I come to the path of the Guru, I've taken my Amrit and I've just followed the way the Guru has told me, my Rahat, my discipline. Life has become so much simpler and so easy. Because why? Automatically, all this unwanted stuff that Guru Sahib is trying to save us from, automatically it's gone. You don't have to worry about what people say about you. You don't have to worry about trying to fit into the world because you are already Niara. Niara means you're different, you're unique. And the world automatically will recognize you and look at you and say, oh, this person is so different. But you're not worried whether they're judging you or they're praising you because you're only worried about what your Guru has to say about you. Because remember, this Avan Jan ek khel banaya. People are going to come and go in our life. People are not even constant in our life. Only Guru is constant. Only our Rahat becomes constant. So I would say that if we have that fear, I feel that it's perhaps only fear that's stopping us from asking for that dat from our Guru. Because once we have started doing the ardas, asking for Amrit, Guru Sahib will bless us. It's just a matter of time. And how strong is that yearning? My yearning was very, very strong. And Maharaj Kirpa, I wanted to take Amrit in that very camp. Like, after knowing about Amrit for 3 days, I was like, Amrit Shakanaya. I don't know what it is. I don't know what will happen after that, but I want this. I don't know. I just want this. And so many people stopped me because studies, you need to eat meat, you need protein, and so on. And I didn't want to go against my family because we made a deal where for 1 year I will practice, and after my study finish in that 1 year, I will take Amrit regardless. But my Rahat, I started practicing the very day I knew about Amrit. And it was just a matter of time. And every day the ardas would be, "Day Sache Pacha, please bless me with your Amrit. I can't wait any longer." So I took 1 year for my ardas to be fulfilled. And so ardas will be fulfilled. It's just a matter of time and being patient, because only Guru Sahib knows exactly when our thirst should be quenched. And such, Pani, such a way Guru Sahib will quench our thirst that it will never come back again. That thirst will just never come back again. So what we need to do is that when there's fear and doubt, I would say, first of all, it's like do ardas to the Guru that Sache Pacha, remove this fear and doubt. I don't know why it's there. It must be because of the world. I'm just a mere human being. You please help me remove this from within. And second is learn about your Guru. When you want to love someone, when you're trying to impress a man or a woman, what you do is you learn about them, their likes, their dislikes. What is it that gives them interest? What do they like to do? What do they like to eat? And you learn all about them, and automatically you fall in love with that person, right? So it's the same relationship with our Guru as well. You're trying to learn what makes our Guru happy, what makes our Guru unhappy with us, and you want to follow that path, because it's all about making your Guru happy. Hana? Jado Guru sade te person ho janda, then basically you don't even have to worry about the world, because whatever you ask for, anamangya daan devana. Even without asking, I've experienced it as well. Without asking, suddenly you'll be like, "Hey, where did this come from? Wow, this is amazing." Because then you're not worried about anything anymore. You have left everything in the hands of the Guru, and now the Guru is thinking for you. The Guru is caring for you. That's how amazing it is to be a part of that Khalsapanth. So it is a great privilege, Sangaji, to be a part of the Khalsapanth. And सारे नु नहीं मिलता. That's why Guru Sahib says virle ke virliya nahi milda. So our goal is, in this life, we want to be a part of that Virla Panth, that Nirmal Panth. We want to be a part of that Panth. We want to be called an army of Akal Purkh. We want to be only answerable to Akal Purkh and not this world. So that's our aim. That's what we need to do. That's our purpose. Once we belong directly to Akal Purkh, we don't care about the world anymore, then Akal Purkh themselves will take care of the forge, take care of the army. And that's it. Then our whole life is set. Our whole Jivan is then pure and without any without any, dirt of the mind and this world that could affect us. So that's basically it for today. I think I spoke too much. Forgive me for, if I've said anything to offend you, anything you didn't agree with, please leave it here. Whatever you agreed with and whatever you think could help to change your life, to help transform your life, please take that and practice that. Because at least one thing we should get from, any katha, any kirtan, any sangha that we go to, we must at least learn something, to transform our life towards Guru and Paramatma. So please forgive me for any of my mistakes. I will pass on to Guru Karanvirji to tell us what's the next process after this. Thank you, everybody. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you so much, Benji, for joining us today. We have a bunch of questions in the question box. So, Sangachi, above the text for voice section, you'll see the question box. If you have any questions for Benji, you can put it there. And then, Benji, you can just take your time or however long you want, and you can just answer them however you want. So, they're all there.
Okay, so I'm reading the questions. Following Gurmat, do you have advice on how to form a modern Khalsa militia? So I assume that you're saying to form a Khalsa military army. So I don't have advice because we already have the army in place from the time of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, from the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. The army, the Khalsa forge is already there present. It's just being a part of it and growing it. The thing is that our Khalsa forge has been so huge, especially during the time after Guru Gobind Singh Ji. You can see that Khalsa Raj under Banda Singh Bahadur, under Nawab Kapoor Singh, Hari Singh Nalwa, under the Khalsa missiles, under the Khalsa Raj of Maharaja Ranjit Singh. It was so profound, it was so well known to the world that Khalsa Raj, basically the Khalsa forge was one forge that you couldn't get past through. That's why British Raj, they couldn't get into Punjab, they couldn't get through Maharaja Ranjit Singh because the forge was so strong. The Khalsapanth was so strong. And so to break the Pantha was to break it from within. They had to send people in to break the Panth from within. So one thing is that following the Rahat given by the Guru, Hana, and then, which this is again for all of us, I'm speaking about myself as well, because I constantly ask myself, how can I physically be a part of that army? So learning Shastar Vidya, following the Rahat of the Guru, and seeing Khalsapanth as not just basically we should not have any doubt when you look at Khalsapanth, because Maharaj ne Khalsa nu Padshahi datti hai. So we have Guru Granth and Guru Pantha as well. Because why? The Pantha makes decision, and the Pantha has been active. It's not to say not active. Panth has always been active. We can see the decisions being made in Akal Takht, the Sarbat Khalsa coming and making decisions, and what's happening now as well in India, we can see what's happening as well. The Panth is always there, it's always active. Whenever the world needs the Khalsa Panth, the militia, it will always be there. Till then, perhaps you will see them, Gupta doing their pagati, but when the time comes, the Khalsa Panth will parkat kar. So, second question. When did we stop using the Paratha Nishanth Sahib, and what is the backstory to the Khanda we have today and how it replaced our Paratha symbols like the Achand? I do not know exactly when the Paratha Nishanth Sahib has been being stopped from being used in the Pantha, but actually it has never stopped. Basically, it just reduced. It became less and less known. The Pantha, the Khalsa Pantha, the Nihang Samparda, they still use the Paratha Nishanth Sahib. That's why you have the argument of like, oh, blue Nishan Sahib or Kesari Nishan Sahib. What is it? Which is the right one? Is it Khanda or is it, Tega and Tal, like you would see in the Paratha Nishan Sahib, right? So there is, I do not know exactly when I wouldn't say stop. I would just say reduce in being used, reduce in usage for the Paratha Nishan Sahib. And if you think about it, a lot of our practices in Sikhi, Puratan practices in Sikhi, like eating in Sarbalo, wearing 10-footy shastar, tying gold dastar, Uch Dumalada, like Gurbani says, make Gurmil Uch Dumala, tying long dumales and adorning your dumales with shastar. All these practices, if you see Sangaji, they have been reduced so much because of the influence of, I would say, the other Raj or empire that has come into Hindustan. So British Raj was one of the very prominent one, where the usage of Sarablo, the reading of Dasambaniya, it really reduced so much. People stopped reading Dasambaniya, which was actually a part of the Panth. Dasambaniya was read so much. Dasam Guru Granth Sahib's Prakash was in every Gurdwara, even here in Malaysia as well. Now you don't see it. So you don't see Dasam Guru Granth Sahib's Prakash. People don't even know what Sarabalo Granth is, I didn't know it myself until a few years, and I'm like, what is this? So again, it's not stopped. It's just that it has become dormant and less spoken about, less used by the Sikhs. And this is just because of pure ignorance. But Guru Kirpa Danal, now our youth are so much more interested in knowing all of this concepts and things in Sikhi that has been kept quiet about. So now it's coming out. And a lot of people are learning about it. So that's amazing. That's Kirpa from Sache Pacha. So next question. What steps should we take as a Panth to reintroduce Sikh Math like Shastar Vidya, Gurumukhi Vichar, especially in places where Prabandhak committees are in control of the Gurdwara? Waheguru Penji, Prabandhak committee are in every Gurdwara. And I tell you, to be a part of the, okay, there's few ways to look at it. First of all, if we want to bring change, we have to bring the change in our own life first. So, how do we do it? What kind of change do you want in your own society? So, would you like the woman, the Bibi, I assume, because I can see a Bibi picture here. So, would you like the woman in your society to represent Sikhi, represent Khalsa, represent the Bana is in a more appropriate form? Then you have to do it yourself as well. So, be a role model. And I tell you, Benji, it will be difficult because people will question you and all. I got questioned when I started tying the star, right? But think of it as people just don't know about it yet. And you just need to introduce all this Sikhi concept into the society. So first of all is bring changes into our own life. If we want to bring back Shastar Vidya, then do we have a Gatka Akhada in our place? Like here in Malaysia, we have Baba Buddha Ji's Gatka Akhada, we have Malaysian Gatka Akhada, we have so many Gatka Akhadas. So what can we do is be a part of that association where we can learn Shastar Vidya. Gurmukhi Vichar, do we know how to read Gurmukhi? If we don't, start learning and then start inspiring other people to learn. So basically then you start doing your own, you start doing parchar to each person. Parchar is not something that you just leave to, the parcharaks of the Panth and speak about that on stages and all. Each one of us have to be walking, talking parchar. What little Sikhi practice you have in your life, you share it with somebody else and inspire them to do that as well. So that's how you could spread the knowledge of Sikhi and ensure that all this Puratan, Maryada, all these practices in Sikhi are brought back. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, sister. You mentioned the word Yatri, if I'm correct, when you talked about Guru Amardas Ji and Akbar. Could you define the word in that context? So Yatri is someone who goes for Yatra, Tirath Yatra. So for us, let's say, for example, now we are going for Hemkund Yatra. So we are called a Yatri, right? So basically, in that time, you have the Atsar Tirath, Gurbani comes in, Atsar Tirath, the 68 Tirath. The Hindu Dharam, they used to go for all these Tirath Yatra. And everybody used to get taxed. So even we as sector, we also go for Yatra as well. We go for the Panch Takhta Yatra. We go for Hemkund Sahib Yatra. We go for all the Itihasik Gurdwara Yatra as well. So that's the meaning of Yatri. Please tell us, sorry everybody, please tell us briefly about the Char Kurahata. Thank you. So Char Kurahata means, Kurahat means opposite of Darahat, means something you shouldn't be doing. Number one is adultery. So it's very easy to remember. Hukka, hajamat, halalo, haram. Okay? Hukka is consumption of tobacco. We shouldn't do it because why? Our mindset changes. We are not conscious anymore. We basically are not in control of our mind. And tobacco is jagat jute. Jute means it's basically a jute of the whole world. There's another background story about it and so on, but no tobacco. Hukka, halalo. Okay, so halal here means meat that has been prepared through the halal system by reading prayers and all, and slowly, what you call that, slaughtering the animal slowly. Okay, now here is where a lot of people would have doubt, like ne mas shakanaini. So you have different school of thoughts. One is not eat halal meat, but you can eat chatka. One is saying you don't eat meat at all. Okay, now each one is correct at its own place based on which part of the Sikh Panth we are in. Now, why do I say that? Look at Khalsapanth as a independent reign. When you look at your country, like for example, I'm going to take an example of Malaysia. Under the reign, the rule of Malaysia, you have the military power, you have the government body, you have the education system, you have the political body, and so on, right? So you have all these different bodies. In the Khalsa Panth, you have the Taksar, the education system of the Panth. You have the Nihang Panth, which is the warrior, the militia of the Panth, right? Then you have the Seva Panthi who basically goes around and does Seva, Nishkam Seva, and does Seva of the Gurudwaras and all of that, caretaking Seva and all. You have the Seva Panthis. Then you have the Nirmale Udasi who go around doing Parchar of Sikhi, of the principles of Sikhi and all that. And each one, you look at Sikh Khalsa Panth as a garden. A garden looks more beautiful with variety of flowers. It attracts more bees. It attracts, more like insects and all of that. And it's more beautiful in that sense as well. So for Taksal, for example, they wouldn't eat meat at all because it's not required for them, because their sole objective, a part of the Khalsa Panth, is education, is Brahm Vidya, and to have that Vidya and to do Parchar, to do Katha, to then teach other people as well. Then you have the Nihang Pantha who then eat Charkamas because they need that energy. We have seen in our Itihas as well, you cannot survive, or when you're in a battlefield, when you're in a war, which we have not experienced it, maybe I have not experienced it, but think about it. Situation is different then. Circumstances are different then. So you cannot be questioning them and tell them, no, don't eat any meat, because it's not realistic. Okay? So in that sense, that's why meat is always one of the greatest issue of discussion when it comes to Amrit Sanchar. Anyways, so hukka halalo, so not eating halal meat, which is slaughtering animal with using prayers and so on. Hukka halalo hajamat haram. Okay, so hajamat then is intoxication and all of that, and haram is adultery. Hajamat means cutting of hair. Hukka is intoxication and tobacco, then eating halal meat, and then after that, hajamat means cutting of your hair, case, any part of the body. This is in a way of accepting Guru Sahib's Akal Purakh's hukam. And then haram means adultery, means being loyal to your one and only partner as well, and not looking at any other of the opposite sex. Okay? So all these Kurhata, they really help us in maintaining a pure lifestyle without having to go through into that guilt and depression when we do something wrong like that. Because trust me, when we do something wrong, when we walk down that path of being indulged in intoxication, nothing good is going to come out of it. When we indulge in adultery, we are going to go down the road of guilt and depression. So Guru Sahib is saving us from all of that. Okay. Next question. Why, Guruji, I just have a question. Is it allowed to eat non-veg or not as per the orders of Akal Takht Sahib? Some people say it is on you whether to eat or not. I would say listen to the Panch Pyare where you're taking Amrit from. Okay. So the Panch Pyare that I've taken Amrit from, for me is no meat at all. So different, if you take Amrit from the Nihang Sanstha, then they will tell you Chatka Mas and all that, because then you have the Panch Pyare are basically they are the one who will give you the hukam. So Panji Parmeshwar, when Guru Sahib says Panji Parmeshwar, the Panch Pyare get together, they have the highest authority in making decisions for you or for the Panth. So listen to the Panch Pyare, like I've mentioned earlier as well, Chatka and non-Chatka. It also depends on which part of the section of the Panth we want to belong to. If we are going to belong to the Nihang Panth, which means that we are full on military forge, we are going to be, staying in the Dala, we are going to be practicing Shastar Vidya, we're going to be wearing Bane all day, eating from Sarabalo the whole time, practicing Dya Rahat, then of course, then eating Chatka is allowed for you. But if you're going to be focusing on your normal lifestyle, like, you're going to be working, but Amritari, but you're working, you're studying, then that diet is not necessary for you because you don't need it. Then it becomes a question of jibras. Why do I have to argue about eating meat? Is it about jibras? Because the Nihang Pantha, with the Chatkamas, is not for jibras, it's solely for survival. We stuck in the jibras. That's why Guru Sahib say that one of these senses, the tongue, is one of the senses that leads us to more Vishay Vikara, more Papa, and just down the road of Karam. So ask yourself this question: why am I arguing or not or doubting this concept of eating meat? Is it because of jibras? Is it because I'm not willing to let go of the taste of chicken and fish or whatever? Then if that is the answer, then we are not ready to be a part of the panth. We are not ready to sacrifice these senses for our guru. Okay, next question. Why Guruji ka Khalsa, why Guruji Fateh? Penji, I've been wanting to take Amrit for over a year now, but sadly my family doesn't think I'm ready. What should I do? Okay, have a discussion with your family. Like, my family was not ready for me because the first thing is because they do not know what it was. Again, it felt like the moment you have taken Amrit, that's it. Your lifestyle is more restricted. Your diet, your basically everything is restricted. So they are afraid that we wouldn't be able to go back into society, go back into the world and live a normal lifestyle as prescribed by the society, right? So have a discussion with your family and tell them, no, look, mommy, look, daddy, like, it's not, my life becomes simpler, not restricted, it becomes simpler, right? And I don't have to worry about all these things. And it basically, my sangat becomes better. You don't have to worry about mixing around with the wrong person. So tell them this way, that you don't have to worry about me mixing in the wrong sangat, because by me taking Amrit, I've already decided that I'm going to be in the right sangat, doing the right thing. You don't have to worry about me, smoking or drinking alcohol, doing drugs or doing adultery, because it's already against the rahat of an Amritari. So give them this dilasa that your life is not restricted, but it becomes better, it becomes more simpler. And second thing that I did was that I used to do every day ardas, that Sache Pasha, please give soji to my family so they could understand your panth. Because it was all just ignorance. We can't blame them. I didn't know about it as well. They didn't know about it. So it's all ignorance, and it's basically trying to give them the knowledge of what Amrit Sanchar is all about. What do you think of Suraj Prakash? I don't quite understand that question, but I assume. Okay, what do you think of Suraj Prakash? For me, it's one of the greatest historical granth of the Pantha, and without Suraj Prakash, we would not have 90% of our history available to us. So whatever people has to say about Suraj Prakash, history, there's no 100% accuracy in history. Not just for the Sikh Panth, for any Pantha, for any history of the world, there's never 100% accuracy, right? So, but it is needed, because through history, through itihas, babaniya kahaniya put karain, we have to listen to kahaniya, itihas, to build that Shraddha Pavna towards our Guru. So read it, listen to the Katha, Panth Prakash, any Itihasa Grantha, all our Sikh Itihas that we read on Sikhi Wiki, Wikipedia, all this Sikh Sakhya for children, they all come from the Itihasa Grantha. As a baby, why should we wear the star, or what inspired you to wear the star? Okay, this is a question that has been asked before. It's not a must to wear the star for a Bibi, but that this is an individual choice. But the least is we have to cover our head when we have become an Amritari. What inspired me to wear the star? Because I wanted to adorn my Guru's roop. So it would remind me, remember I told you about that uniform that you wear when you're in public, it would remind you of your duty. So you cannot back off, you cannot hide from your duty as a Khalsa. So wearing the star is a reminder for me as well. So that's one. I wanted to adorn the roop of my Guru. Second thing is that the moment I tie the moment I tie my hair up, my case up in a jura, and I have my case key on my head, I automatically feel tiyar par tiyar. So I do not like my hair being let down, and gutka what they call it, gut karke, or is this khulla chhadya hoya. I feel very chaotic. So combing my case, tying it in a jura, and making my bunga and tying a case key, it's a sign for me mentally that I'm ready to go through the day. So I like to have my case key on me, and I cannot survive without my dastar. Even, this is very personal, but I would share with everybody. I went through, you might have read my portfolio, but I had cancer a few years ago. And through that journey of chemotherapy, I lost my case completely. I was as bald could be, you know? And it really affected my confidence because number one, my case was my direct connection for me personally with Guru Sahib, with Guru Gobind Singh Ji, because Guru Sahib loved case so much. And I felt so hurt that my case was just falling off because of the treatment, because of my own karam and all of that. And every day my ardas would be that my case would grow back, and I would look forward for that progress in my case journey. Even when I lost all my case, I still tied a case key. I just figured out a way to make a fake bunga, or, tried different kapda, used shawls, and so on, just so I could have that sense of still having the star on my head. So that's how important it is for me as well. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Ishwate Penji, Raj here. Oh, we have our VG from Indonesia. My question is, how do we have as a Khalsa in facing the injustice that occur in our life and society around us? So I would say we have to become fearless. So you stand up for what's right, and you stand up against that injustice, then basically you're already behaving like a Khalsa. That's why we say we are Niara Panth. So even if everybody else is keeping quiet about it, you voice out, right? You voice out, not bothering that you're going to be the only one or people are going to backfire you and so on. You voice out because you believe that it's wrong. There's two things. In our itihas, I don't remember which Gursikh said it. But if you see something wrong happening, there's two things a Khalsa can do. You either walk away from there, or if you cannot walk away and you're there, you're still standing there, you have to do something about it. So if you're there, you better do something about it. Or if you cannot do anything about it, you walk away so you don't have the karam of seeing that injustice happening. But once you're there and you're seeing it happening and you don't do anything about it, then you are at fault as well. So this we need to always remember. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Ishwate everyone. I would really love to decorate my life to my Guru and take Amrit one day, but what is stopping me is the fact that I feel I'm still a terrible person. I feel I'm always judging people and thinking things that my Guru might not like. I just don't want to make a promise and keep breaking my Guru's heart. It's really hard, especially when I go to school and we are all involved in wrong, worldly things. What do I do? Taking Amrit, you are not, like I said, you are not going to take care of the rahat. You're not going to take care of the fear of doing wrong worldly things. Like I said, the worry is now in the hands of the Guru. Your Guru and your rahat is going to take care of you, because you're constantly reminded that this is basically what I have signed up for. And these are the code of conduct, these are the discipline of an Amritari. Automatically, you're not going to be doing anything bad physically. Now, your thoughts, you are not your mind. This mind is going to try every effort to take you away from your Guru, take you away from Sikhi. What you need to do is work with your mind, right? Thinking things that my Guru might not like, don't worry about that, because how do you know whether your Guru is going to like it or not? And if you're not doing it on purpose. So like I said, your mind is going to try every effort to take you away from that. So one of that is trying to take you away from taking Amrit is by these messages the message that you're saying here, like the feeling of negativity that I'm always judging people, thinking things, worry that you do wrong worldly things and all. These are all the thoughts that are in your mind. telling you that you are not worthy to take Amrit. How can your mind tell you you're not worthy to take Amrit when only Guru is the one to decide? So our job as a Sikh is Ardas Karo, Sache Pacha, make me worthy. Take away all these thoughts from me because I want to be a part of you. I want to be called your daughter, your son. So please do something about it. And working with your mind is something that is going to take a lifetime, right? So what you need to do is just take that leap of faith and let your guru hold your hand. Don't put your hands behind your back. Your guru is trying to, your guru is saying like, Hatta de menu, guru has put their hand forward and you're putting your hands at your back saying, no, I'm not ready for it. Right? So take that leap of faith and put your hands forward. For Hindu families, should a person wait until parents agree or give permission for Amrit Pan? Okay. Well, we've had this case before as well. Speak to your parents. See whether they agree. Don't do anything against your family's wishes as well, because what's the point of hurting anyone, right? Talk to them. And if they're very against the principle of you wanting to take Amrit, but of course it has to be your own, no one is forcing you. You want to take Amrit on your own. Then what you can do is that go to the Panch Pyare, find, like normally there'll be Panch Pyare, and ask for their advice. What does a Panch Pyare think? Because Panch Pyare, they don't just only give Amrit, but they also solve issues and they give advice. They also give punishments, tanka and all of that. So speak to the Panch Pyare and see if the family is not agreeing to it. But there are also cases where people have taken Amrit and they keep quiet about it, and then they tell their family, and of course because then the family doesn't see much differences, so they take and then they tell their family. So it's situation based. You really have to try out what really works for you. My question is, the Khanda is a symbol given to us during British Raj, so how come we are still using it when we have symbols available to us from Guru Maharaj time, such as the Chand Tora and Astpuja? Plus, the Panth knows that the Khanda isn't our true symbol, so how come we still use it? It's a very good question because people don't know about it. So, for example, in Malaysia, we are fighting a battle with the Gurdwaras to even have, what we call it, I forgot the word already. But it's a battle here in Malaysia as well to explain to the Gurdwaras that, hey, now what's happening is people are not even seeing De Shiva for when we do the when we put the what you call that, our Nishanth Sahib Slami, people are not even saying De Shiva because they don't even know what is it. They say it's a Hindu mythology, Hindu prayer and all. So they're trying to get rid of it. So what needs to be done is more awareness. That's it, more awareness, and it's happening as well. So there's some gurdwaras putting up blue Nishan Sahib. People are asking questions. Oh, why blue? So that's a good sign. That's when you get to then do parchar and tell them, hey, actually it was a Puratan Maryada, but then British came and they kind of changed stuff. Even the concept of Sarbulo was changed during the British time as well. And now people, the moment we see someone using Sarbulo, people are like, they Kattar lok aage. It's not their fault. They just don't know about it, right? So it's awareness. We have to create a lot of awareness then. People just don't know about it. Benji, what would you suggest to cause who struggle to accept their case? This is an ongoing battle. We have to really, I would say this from my own experience. I mean, I have a lot of like leg hair, arm hair, and I faced a lot of what do you call it, Hanabi? You're very self-conscious that people are looking, because when I was in high school, I had to wear skirt. So people would be like, oh, you have so much of leg hair, why don't you shave it off and all that? But it was not a practice in my family. We don't do all this shaving and all that stuff. So I never thought about it. So there was a constant battle before I've taken Amrit, that about my hair, and I used to go for all this a saloon where we perm our hair, straighten our hair. I think I got that term right, perm. Yeah, I think. And it was because that was what my sangat was like, and I was trying my best to make them happy, to fit in, But then when I lost my case, like during the chemotherapy, I lost my hair, I lost my eyebrows, you know, and I became like Amritari version of Mona Lisa. It was very difficult because I just wanted it back. I just wanted it back. So until we lose something, we will not be able to gain that appreciation. So my advice would be, don't wait to lose it. Start appreciating that gift now, because there are many people in the world who are yearning to have that gift of gaze, but they just can't. So Maharaj ne sanu inni vadi daat bakshiya. We have to appreciate it before it's taken away from us. Guru Sahib has given us that gift. Rather than questioning and not liking it, how would you feel when you gift someone like a really expensive, maybe a diamond necklace, to someone you really love, and that person goes like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna wear it, I mean, I guess I'll see whether, people like it or not. How would you feel when, you've gifted such an expensive gift to your friend, to your loved ones, and they say they're not really sure whether they want to wear it or not, right? Such an expensive gift. So think about it that way. Could you retell the issue regarding Yatris during Akbar's reign before he met Guru Amar Das? I wasn't fully present when you narrated the part. So what happened is that in the Mughal Empire, they started this thing because they need to collect money from the people, right? So one way to collect money was by putting tax on yatris, because the Hindu Dharam, they used to go for yatra all the time throughout the year. So what they did was they started putting yatri tax, where every person who wants to go for yatra, means you'll be traveling through district or state or going through the place for yatra, you'll be taxed. And what happened was that even in Gurbani, when I was reading the Pankti as well, Pai hum karhe kya, kis paas mange sab paag, satpur piche pai, means this was a time during Akbar Basha's reign, Guru Amar Das's time, where a lot of Sangat started coming to Guru Sahib and saying that we are very poor and they're just, putting tax on the yatris, and we already don't have money to travel and all of that. And all this money that we need to at least pay takar to the Tirat, we have to give it to the government. So what happened was that in the story of Jodha Akbar, if you are familiar with the Bollywood movie, you would see that in that movie, that same Akbar Bacha, he abolishes the system of Yatri tax. And how that came about was that when Akbar Basha came to meet Guru Amar Das Ji, and we know the Sakhi that it was first Sangat, he had to sit with the beggars, the low caste people, the Sikh and all that, before he could have darshan of Guru Amar Das Ji. And he really wanted to meet Guru Sahib. And so when Guru Sahib met Akbar Basha, he told him that the issue with the Yatri tax and all of that. Akbar Basha was a very reasonable king. He was one of the good ones. And so he abolished the Yatri tax during the time of Guru Amar Das Ji. Okay, so we are now at the last part. I want to learn Kirtan, be well versed with the history of Guru Sahib, but as a working professional, it is becoming hard to maintain work-life balance. How can I solve it? Everybody have 24 hours in a day. We just have to make time. Really, it's giving your time and your effort to your Guru. My husband is working full-time as a HR manager. And I see him like going back and forth, especially during this COVID lockdown, since I'm not traveling. So I see him every day at home, how he's working, the whole day, and yet he can still cook for the family because he loves cooking. I don't love cooking. So he cooks for the family, and then he still does. We do our Saj part and all of that. It will take time. It's not like if you don't do it today, don't feel guilty about it. Start small. Set a routine. So now, even though he's working, he has this routine that every week he would go and do a counterpart roll. You can't do it on a Friday, he does it on a Saturday, right? So it's all about making your schedule, putting some time aside, even whatever little time you have. You don't have to stress it. So every day in Naka, I have to dedicate 3 hours. And if it's not possible, don't push yourself. First is that. So set some time aside for yourself, for your guru. Okay. Second thing is that while you're working, maybe try to, I don't know, this what people do as well. While they're working, they listen to Baniya, they listen to Kathas. I'm not sure whether you can do that in your work, where you have your earphones on and you're listening to Katha, Kirtan while you're working. So multitasking, right? So if that could work in a way. And third, ask for ardas, do ardas to Guru Sahib Sache Pasha. This work, if really you have no time, if then do ardas Sache Pasha that Maharaj, please give me a job or give me such a lifestyle where I can really do your seva, I can learn kirtan, but also do my kirt kamai as well. I've read some articles which say that certain banis like Varpagoti Ji ki Sansahar Sukhmana were removed from Siddhasam Guru Granth Sahib in British rule under the Soda Committee. What are your thoughts on this? Okay, so I'm not sure about the Sansahar Sukhmana. Varpagoti Ji ki, there's like a few, but Guru Sri Dasam Granth Sahib Ji, like I think there has been a Soda Committee, and personally, our own Vidya Guru, like for Ustad, like Gani Nangli Ji, Baba Surjit Singh Ji Mehro Wale, I've never heard from them, or they have never said that certain Bani have been taken away. They have actually put together a lot of this Puratan manuscripts and Sarups of Sri Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji and compared them, and they saw a lot of similarities. Of course, a few Baniya like Hikayata, a Sphotak Baniya are different, or they're not available in certain Sarups. So the Sarup that we have now, which is a standardized Sarup of Sri Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji, contains majority of the Baniya from the Puratan Sarups even before the time of British Raj as well. So I don't believe that it has been taken away or removed from Sri Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Maybe you can share the article, but I've never heard about it. Benji saw this question on Twitter, but with the concept of redemption Sikhi, can someone who has committed the most heinous of crime be able to? Of course. I mean, look at what's his name? Kauda Raksh. Look at like Pumya Chor and all these people during time Guru Nanak Dev Ji. They have been liberated. And let me ask you a question. Have you tried killing your guru? Have you tried killing your guru? Have you tried killing Guru Granth Sahib Ji or a saint? If you've never done that, then you're safe, because Badak actually shot an arrow to Krishna Bhagwan and still he became liberated. So read the Pagat series, the Pagat Mala Steek, read the Sakya of the Pagats, and think about all these Pagats. They have all come from very vast, very interesting backgrounds. Some Ganka Papan, a prostitute. She was Ganka Udri, kahe har tot, like when she told the tot Ram, 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 she was liberated, she was saved. So the most greatest crime, whatever crime it is, as long as you basically recognize that you have done something wrong and you ask for forgiveness from your guru and you don't do it again, means you move forward, then of course Guru Sahib is going to forgive you. Hana? Benji, what is the take of Sikhi on homosexuality? Oh, such an ongoing argument. What can I say? Sikhi's take. I've not done a lot of research on this because perhaps in our society here, in the Asian community, we don't really have this kind of questions coming up. But if we look at Gristi Jivan, which is the suggested or prescribed lifestyle for us, which means Ananda Karaj, husband and wife getting married, it has to be, and if you want to procreate, means have children, it has to be between a husband and a wife. Because if we look at Gurbani as well, it's a conversation that a soul bride has with her husband. So all of us are considered soul brides to Akal Purukh Waheguru, which is our husband. Hana? So what is the idea of, where did the idea of homosexuality came about? And Why is it now coming up? These are the questions we need to ask ourselves. Why is it coming out now? And why is it that we're trying to fit Sikhi into homosexuality or the other way around? So I don't have a definitive answer for this. I'm not really well versed in this topic. And it's also the kind of topic, I guess, and people are going to start shooting you with arrows and saying that, oh, this person is against and or not. Okay.
Also,
So
just to add on, Benji, so the person who asked that question, there's actually a Basics of Sikhi video where by Jagraj Singh Ji talks about that. So if anyone wants any further clarifications on that, they can either message Benji on Instagram, or they can just check out the Basics of Sikhi video because they've made a bunch of videos on it. Sorry, go ahead, Benji.
yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that'll be good because not Paisab actually made a lot of videos on homosexuality. So go and watch that video. But I'm very sorry, Benji. I'm not really well versed in this topic. So I can't help much on that. Next question. How do we know when we are ready to have the responsibility of Karpan? Should we learn Gadkafis? You will have the instinct that you want to take Amrit and be Shastartari. So it's either way. You can learn Gatka first and then carrying Karpan. But I assume when you say carrying Karpan, you're an Amritari or you want to become a Shastartari. So basically, Khande Bhatte da Amrit Shakke, then you become a Shastartari Singh. So many people, they practice Rahat first and then they take Amrit. And many people, they just take Amrit and they practice and then they start their journey practicing their Rahat. So either way, it should lead you to your goal, which is to become a part of the Panth. Some people say that our Supreme Guru is only Guru Granth Sahib Ji and we should not follow or read the some Granth Sahib Ji because of some impure milawat. Purchuk maafi jiyo. Yes, many people say that, and there are a lot of people going against Sri Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji as well. I would say the same thing is just pure ignorance, and we have not built our connection. We have not built our relationship with Dasam Bani as well. What I would say is that don't listen to the opinions of these people. Always look back into Itihas. Itihas has told us again and again, Jere Sade Puratan Singhan, our Puratan Singhs and all, our warriors, and all of them have been reading the Sambani as well, alongside Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Mata Sahib Devan Ji, she was an empress. After the passing of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Mata Sundari Ji and Mata Sahib Devan Ji, they held the whole Panth together in Delhi. Imagine, it's a very difficult time of the Panth, for the Panth, because the Gurgaddi has been passed on from a Day Guru, from a physical Guru, to Shabad Guru, to a Sarup, to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And how are you going to then propagate that whole message to the whole of Panth, the global Panth? First thing is that. Second thing, to ensure that the faith remains within the Panth. Second thing is that. Third thing is how to hold the Panth together in the absence of your general, of your physical leader. And Mata Sahib Devan Ji, she held it so gracefully as an empress. I call her an empress, as well as she's my mother. She sent out hukamnames, like one was to Pai Mani Singh Ji, sent out a hukamname, told Pai Mani Singh Ji, gave Pai Mani Singh Ji a hukam to compile the Bani of Dasam Guru. So Pai Mani Singh Ji did that seva of compiling all the Bani of Dasam Maharaj. And many Puratan Gursikhs as well. You will see in their Gutke Sahib, you will see the Khalsapanth, the Khalsa Gutka, the Khalsa Rahat, they all read the Sambaniya because, like I said, the Sambani, okay, this is how you look at it. Guru Gobind Singh Ji has said that Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Ad Maharaj and Dasam Maharaj, they are Gurpai. Eka Vadda Veera, eka Chota Veera. Ad Maharaj is Vadda Veer, Dasam Maharaj is Chota Veer. To understand Ad Maharaj, the Sakya and Ad Maharaj, Ram, then Vishnu, the Avatar, Shiva, all these warriors, the Devis, Guru Sahib has explored all of these ideas, all of these topics in Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And so to do Khalsa Khalsa means to have a better understanding of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it is also important to understand or to read the Guru Granth Sahib Ji as well, because all the Sakya you can read from there. And Sangaji, I would say try and read the Bani of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the Sambani. It is so enticing. It is so full of biras and so full of beat. When we do the Shera Part Samagam, I look forward to reading the Bani of Guru Gobind Singh Ji because it's so up to beat. There's so many Shanda Bandi, and it's so interesting to read the Bani of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, the warriors, the Khalsas, jado jang jad waste jande hai, where did they get their biras from? From this Ambani, a lot from this Ambani. Chandi Diwar. Then they read other Jab Sahib. If you read Jab Sahib, the Shanda Bandi of Jab Sahib is on the chal of the Pentra. You have the Nagani chal, the Pujanga chal. So these are the chals that the Guru Sikhs would use when they are in the war, in the battlefield, to maneuver around the enemies. So Pujanga chal, they start riding their horses in the shape of a snake. So the arrows which are shooting straight, they cannot shoot the Khalsas because they are riding in the shape of a snake. By using the chal, the Bani of Jab Sahib. Then, so it's very interesting in that sense. And Guru Sahib's Bani gives so much of biras and confidence to whoever needs it. So try reading Chandi Diwar, try reading Akal Ustad. So beautifully written. You know, I don't know why anybody would have doubt. I would just say because they have not experienced it. They have not read Guru Gobind Singh's Bani. They have not explored it. So what do we do when we don't know something? We either question it or push it aside. I want to know if a person is Amritari and married. I want to know if a person is Amritari and married to a non-Amritari person. What should that person do in order to live a Gurmat life and follow all the Rahat Maryada in an environment where the people are drinking, going to parties, living Sansari life? What are your suggestions for an Amritari person to deal with and live in that environment and still connect to Waheguru? You can. That's why Guru Sahib says a Sikh is just like that lotus flower. A jivan of a Sikh is like that lotus flower that still blooms despite living in a muddy place, despite living in a muddy lake. So this whole Kaljug, this whole sansar is that mud, is that lake, that dirty lake. And we have to become like that lotus flower. Chikkar vich hoke we are still blooming. We still give out our fragrance. We still give out our color. Now, my husband and I, asi Amritari family to nahi hai. We are the only Amritaris in our family. Now, my mother-in-law has joined the family as well. My father-in-law is full on drinking, person. My father was like that. Now he has stopped. My brother-in-law is full on drinking, and so on. So when the family gathers together, we have this thing of like going for a family dinner and they want to go to a seafood restaurant. So what do? We do not want to ruin the family relationship as well. So we have our langar beforehand, we have our food beforehand, and we join the family when you go there. Of course, फिर उत्थे लोग शराब पींदे आ, रुक्कू फूकदे आ. So फिर ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ करिए? Then we remove ourselves. We just go for a walk. We remove ourselves from that environment, but respectfully without hurting other people. Very important to do that. When I was studying in college, I lived in a house with 7 other people. They're not Sikhs, yeah. They're Chinese, they're Muslims, they're Christians, Indian. And I was the only vegetarian there. But Mara di Kirpa Dena, the house that we chose, because of course sometimes you have to put your food down as well and say, no, I'm not going to, I need this on my own. So the house we chose to stay had 2 kitchens. So I took the smaller one where I cooked my own food. And my food, my things did not mix with the other kitchen where they cook meat and all of that. But yet we stayed in the same house. Jodo dinner hunda siga, they cook their food, I cook my food, we sit down at the same table and eat. Jodo I used to have my name that time where I used to read extra Baniya apart from my Nityanem. So it became a routine that when we used to travel in the bus to the college, I would do my Baniya then extra Japji Sahib, extra Mool Mantar. And my friends, I didn't tell them. मैं दस्या नहीं okay हाँ मैं होना बानी पढ़ने के मैं कच्चना sorry I'm speaking Malay. I mean I'm reading I'm doing my prayers. Please don't disturb me. So I never used to tell them. So what I usually is I just became quiet. I would do my own part, and when they speak to me, if I'm doing Mool Mantar, I would respond to them. Or if I'm doing Japsa, I'll just signal to them, give me some time, like wait. मैं करके then I'll just say, oh sorry, I was doing my prayers. What's up? You know? So it's still possible to live your life as an Amritari and still mix around with the world. You know? It about the one Amritari marrying to a non-Amritari person. Now this is where that's why it's always suggested, recommended, and it's basically Ananda Karaj. That is a whole point of view. Again, Hana, it's still better for an Amritari to marry another Amritari because why? Rahat vaste, it's easier for both of you to practice. Unless the partner is walking on the path and about to take Amrit, and that's different. But if you're going to marry a non-Amritari and your lifestyle is different, then conflict will arise because you're living in the same household, you're sleeping on the same bed, and how are you going to maneuver in your life? So I would say that it should be another Amritari that you're marrying, so it's easier for both of you to become each other's sangat, unless you are hoping or you are inspiring your partner to take Amrit, right, and walk on the path of Sikhi. Then that's a different story. Is there a right age to get married? Well, there is no like right age. Basically, when you're there's no right age to get married, but not too young as well. And but there is an age gap. Suggested age gap between the man and the woman is 4 years. Is suggested because then maturity difference, and then the partner can, like for example, my husband and I got married at the age of 23. Some people would say that's too young. So some people have their own mindset. They want to get married when they're 26, 27, 28. So there's no right age of getting married. It's just when your sanjog likhya hoya, you're going to get married at that time. Sanjog nahi likhya hoya, you don't get married, Last time, Puratan, like Maryada they used to get married very young, Like there's a Mataji in our community here. She got married when she was 12. But that was because of very harsh circumstances where our country was under the Japanese invasion, and fathers were very afraid that they're going to lose their life and their daughters are going to remain unmarried. So back then, it was a practice of getting their daughters married at an early age. But they would not have sambandha, means no physical relation with their husband until they are of age. So 16, 17 years old. So this was an understanding between both families. But now, modern age, now everybody has their own mindset. Some want to get married after doing their degree and so on, right? But think about it this way. You do not want it to be too late, and you do not want it to be too early. You have to find out for yourself what is the right age to get married for yourself, where you can still work, because marriage, Kristi Jeevan, you and your husband or you and your wife, both of you are going to become each other's sangat. So I got married when I was 23. My husband is 4 years elder than me. He's 27. And it was a good journey for us because he was the more matured one and more experienced in Sikhi, and he guided me in my journey in Sikhi. I got diagnosed with a potentially disabling disease last year that isn't curable in medicine. Could you please speak about how Sikhi played a role in my cancer journey? When so I have taken Amrit in 2011. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, Vasaki. And I got married in 2015 December. So 3 months after figuring out, 3 months after getting married, I found out I had cancer. And it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, and basically it was borderline. Again, Guru Sahib ne bahut kirpa ki thi because they somehow just showed me signs and stuff where I just had to go to the hospital and get myself admitted and get checked. Although I didn't have any symptoms showing that I had cancer. So when this is where it relates to the idea of marriage. I was married already at that time. My husband, being 4 years elder than me, he was so matured that I could walk on the path. So each one of us have a choice, yeah? We could either, so I was at a junction. So I had two paths that I could choose from. Either I could walk down the road of depression. I cry, blame the world, blame my Guru Sahib mein Amrit Shakya, I've become a part of you. I've done all this, and why are you letting this happen? So walk down the road of blame and guilt, or I could walk down the lane of Satipacha. Okay, so this is basically something because of my own karam, my own actions, and now it's burning my karam, right? I take this disease positively that is going to burn my karam as fast and as much as it can. So what I need from you, Satipacha, is I really need you. So this is my ardas. I really need you to give me strength to go through this, because it is going to be a very difficult journey. Because going through cancer, chemotherapy, more than physical pain, it's actually mental torture, emotional pain, because your hormones are like haywire. You're gonna lose control of your body, of your senses, of your anger, and all of the emotions. So it's a roller coaster ride. So I need strength to go through it, right? So what happened was that, like I mentioned, a secular life, you must have the 3S: Seva, Simran, Sangat. Okay, I started working on this 3. I couldn't do much Seva because physically I wasn't even able to. But there was a lot of Gurbani that was going. I couldn't even do my Nithaneem because I had no strength at all, right? But my husband became my support. He became my Sangat, and he really supported me a lot. So a lot of positive encouragement, it's reminding me that this is a path, this is part of your karam. Think about it, that this disease is going to burn so much of your karam, and you just basically need to fight it. So accept it. So acceptance is the key for you to go through it. Because I have a best friend of mine, she also had cancer, and she succumbed to it. She gave up because she was not strong enough mentally, because it was already eating her up emotionally. So I did not want that to did not want that to happen to me. So I started removing negative people from my life. So people who know, ਸਾਡੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਲੋਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਏ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਹੁਣੀ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਇਆ, that kind of thing. And you go like, yeah, sorry, I don't need to hear all that. Goodbye. You just shut the door in their face. I had to do that. Sometimes you have to do that because your own mental health, your own journey is much more important than what people has to, say and comment and all of that. Because if it's not helping you, this is how my whole perspective has changed since then. If the conversation that we are having is not helping me in any way to become closer to myself, to my guru, then I'm not going to indulge in that conversation, whether it be Nindya, Chugli, or just, I don't know, any conversation as such. So my Sangat became less and became, rather than quantity oriented, it became quality oriented. So who do I want to keep in my circle of Sangat? So my husband was one. I had a Chinese best friend. So think about it, Sangatji. My Chinese best friend became my Sangat because the moment she comes in, she will be full of positivity, even though she's not a Sikh. But I need that positive energy. And then Gurbani would be on the whole time. And then the Sangat, the old aunties and all, oh, I love them so much. They would organize Sukhni Sahib job every month for me. So I couldn't sit down, but all I had to do was go there, listen to the job, and come back home. Right? So before I started my cancer treatment, my husband said, Asi job karna, Sukhni Sahib job karna kare. So we did, both husband and wife, we did 12 hours Sukhni Sahib job at home before I started my treatment. And I did ardas every day that Sache Pasha, you please don't let me break. I do not want to break down. I need to have that constant strength. And my goal during that 6 months, I really re-evaluated my life. Because even though I've taken Amrit, but my life was not transforming. So I was thinking so much that why have I not transformed my life? So the idea of finding my purpose of life came during that 6 months period of chemotherapy, where I gave up the whole idea of pleasing the world, my fashion sense and yada da da. But I wanted to do something for myself that would bring me closer to Satya Pacha. So it was during that 6 months period where I gave up my job without even thinking where I'm going to get money to pay the bills, you know. And after that, the month I gave up my job was the same month where I got the application form to join Basics of Sikhi Academy, which I have never heard about. I was like, kya Basics of Sikhi? Malaysia chia? And I was like, no, it's in the UK. I was like, oh, interesting. So I went for the interview. I found out about it. And after that, Basa, when I was there for 6 months, and I thought about it again, what do I want to do with my life? Where what I do, it has to be fulfilling. It has to give me joy, but it brings me closer to Waheguru as well. So then I walked on this path of coming back to Malaysia, started the Southeast Asia Seva, and then started running camps, started running, programs and all of that. So you'll be surprised, Sangaji, how dukkha in your life could really actually be daru. That's why dukkha, it really is daru. And I was just having a conversation with my husband just in the car just now, where we look at dukkha, and when we say hai ki ho gaya, we're looking in a negative way already. Why Guru Sahib said dukkha is daru is because we have gained that dukkha and it has become a part of our experience in life. And through that experience, your life completely changes. The way you look at life changes. You become more humble. You become full of gratitude. You are able to help other people going through the same journey as well. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਦੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ, those who don't go through pain and suffering in their life, look at them. They're living in ego. They're living in the pride that I am, nobody can hurt me. I am the greatest. Look at my life. It's so amazing and all of that. But those who go through dukkha, look at their life and see. In our Pantha, all the shaheeds, they went through some sort of dukkha. And look at the jewels that they have become of the Pantha. So dukkha is daru in a way because it becomes a part of our experience where we can then, it helps us to mold our jivan. So, okay. What do you think of sukha? I have no thoughts on it. And what is your objective of asking for this question? I don't take it, but I have no opinions on it as well. Where is the Gurpai line that you just talked about? Where is the Gurpai? I'm sorry, I don't understand this, Viji. Oh, okay. So this was, I have to recall, I read it in an article. But it's also in one of the, it's like in the Rahatnames and Hukamnames that are written by the Guru. It's not in Gurbani, but it's in this Rahatnames where you can find written by the Khalsas. So let me find that article and read before. But I don't even remember what is the exact Pankti, but the literal translation is that one is the Vadda Veer and one is the Chota Veer. What are your opinions on removing body hair as an Amritari? We cannot remove our body hair as an Amritari. Then Ota Kurahat ho gaya. So once we have done that, then we have to go and do pesh in front of the Panch Pyare. And tell them that we have done this. But unless if you have medical issues, like what happened was that I had a few surgeries done on this body, and in regards to the chemotherapy, and I had a few miscarriages after that as well. So when it's medically, you have to remove your case and all of that is unavoidable, then what happens is that you go to the Panch Pyare, you still have to do pesh because it is still a kurahat that has taken place. Then you just tell the Panch Pyare this has happened, and then again the Panch Pyare are the supreme decision makers in the presence of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Then they will make a decision whether what kind of tankha to give to you, and they are kind enough they would even do ardas for you in that Amrit Sanchar. So I've had that done for me as well. Can you please repeat how dukkha can be daru? It was wonderful. So we was having this conversation. Dukkha is daru because when we go through pain in our life, it is then we start re-evaluating our life, like what we have been doing, how we have been living our life, rethinking that is this the kind of person I want to continue to become? And then because dukkha brings you closer to Vaheguru, so that your whole purpose is rather than trying to make the world happy, because it is in dukkha, dukh mein bahut sangi paye, dukh mein sang na koye, Gurbani Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji says it. Hana we sukh de vich sare friends ban jande ya. But dukkha de vich then everybody just goes like, hi, ki ho gaya. That's the only thing they're going to say. But they're not going to be your sangi. They're not going to say, give me your dukkha, because you can't. It's something that you have to go through yourself. So your whole purpose in life changes from worldly oriented, it becomes guru oriented. So now you're thinking that is how it was for me. Now I'm thinking that what do I want to do in my life? Because I know, especially if it's a physical pain, you kind of know that death is already nearby. It's just a matter of time. So every breath becomes so precious to you. You do not want to waste it. So how are you going to ensure you don't waste your breath? Then your sangat changes, your perspective in life changes. You don't want to waste time listening to Chugli in India, Irka, people talking about stuff. Then you have these questions. You become so straightforward. You're not afraid to voice out to people and say, hey, I'm not going to listen to this because it doesn't help me in any way. So dukkha becomes a daru in a way that your whole life perspective changes. Your practices that you used to do, if it was manmukh before it, it becomes gurumukh oriented. And then the dukkha, that we go through, it becomes, rather than a negative experience, it becomes a positive experience. So in our bank of experiences, we can, add this to our account, and what happens is that we become more humble. There's so much more gratitude in our jeevan. ਅਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੁਕਰਾਨਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. Oh, thank you ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ for giving me today. Today has been a good day. Even though you have had a bad day, but because you have gone through so much of dukkha in your life, and you understand that, hey, Asalcha, I'm not the only one who goes through dukkha. Everybody is going through dukkha as well. You start becoming more compassionate towards people as well. है ना? That ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਚੇ ਚੜ ਕੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ says, ਉੱਚੇ ਚੜ ਕੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਘਰ ਘਰ ਇਹ ਅੱਗ. You will then realize that, hey, ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ, actually, everybody is suffering, just in their own way. So you start becoming more compassionate towards other people as well. And then because of your experience, let's say if it's a physical suffering, because of your experience, you can help other people going through it. You can help other people. Like, for example, for myself, okay, let's say now I've gone through that cancer journey. Now somebody else is going through that journey as well. I can help that person because I've gone through it with the strength given to me by Maharaj. Because ਅਸੀਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੂੰ ਆਏ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ that, oh, ਕਿਉਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਏ ਕੀਤਾ, ਕਿਉਂ ਦੱਦੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਨਾ ਦਿਓ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੋਸਤ ਕਰਮਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆ, ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕੀਆ ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਇਆ, ਦੋਸਤ ਨਾ ਦੀਜੇ ਅਵਰ ਜਨਾ. ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ says that, ਹੈ ਨਾ? So ਦੋਸਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ, and we can't be playing the blame game and going down the negativity road. ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਚੰਗਾ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਆ, now let's try to work towards accepting it and going through it. That's the whole point. So that's how dukkha can be so, it's not a bad thing to go through dukkha. It's a good thing. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਥ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਥ ਦੇ ਮਹਾਨ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, everybody had to go through some sort of dukkha. Dukkha can really transform our life. ਤੇ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਨਾ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ 'ਚ, they don't have these values of compassion, daya, gratitude, humility, because for them life has been so easy. So when we go through dukkha, think of it as we are adding more experiences into our account, and Guru Sahib is looking at us. Guru Sahib di nigah wa sade utte, te Guru Sahib, and one way to destroy our karam is actually to have this kind of dukkha, because ਜਦੋਂ bala dukh honda na zindagi cha, think of it this way, that a lot of our karam is being cut. That's great, because jesi karam badai jaange, then we have to take more jivan, more janam and kam, and more maran, and so that's what dukkha can be, daru as well. Have you had the blessing of Sangat with any Brahmgyanis in the past? Do you know of any Mahapurkh, Sant Gurubachan Singh Ji, Baba Harnam Singh Ji, whom one could visit in today's age? Okay. Of course, see, Sant Gurubachan Singh Ji, I mean, we didn't meet them, or Baba Harnam Singh Ji, but I read about their Jivan. When I came into Sikhi, my husband, he made me read all the autobiographies of all the good Sikhs. Bhai Rama Singh Ji, Bhai Ranveer Singh Ji, Baba Harnam Singh Ji, Rampur Khereware, and Baba Nand Singh Ji and all. Unnai autobiography padh ke, I learned about their Jeevan. And physically, in my life, I have met 3. I mean, there are many good Sikhs, but I would say 3 for me personally, because when I think about them, when I speak to them, when I just see them, I start crying, because, even now as well, because they are the symbol, they are the very form of love and compassion. And all they talk about is being with Vaheguru. All they talk about is Naam, and it's so positive to be in their Sangat. One of them was Bhai Harbhajan Singh Sagu in UK. Saguji in the UK, they've passed away last year. And it's very interesting, because my husband knew about them and nobody else knew. I was like, Kona Saguji, and they're so gupta. They're always doing simmer in the Bibi Nanaki Jatha, but very few, even in the UK, living in the same area, they just don't know how great Pai Saguji is. So Pai Saguji is one, and then there's one Gursikh in Singapore. I'm not gonna take their name because they're so gupta, but they're another one, and one more is Swami Ram Singh Ji. So Swami Ram Singh Ji is another one that is such a blessing to have them in my life. So yes, they are still Brahmgyanis, they are still Sant Mahapurukh in this world, that when you meet them, the only thing you want is to become like them, because they have, and you can feel that they have direct connection with Paramatma. How can you help someone realize their dukkha is a way to get closer to Sikhi and increase their trust in Vaheguru? If majority of their life from childhood they've just felt dukkha without much sukha, especially if they're still in that negative environment, it will take time, because my childhood was not an easy one, coming from a broken family, not having the love of one parent, fights, and having to basically look after Buzurg in the family despite being such a young girl, not having all that fun childhood that a girl should have, playing with dolls and birthday parties and all that. I didn't have all of that. And yes, there was a lot of negativity built up in me. Even when I met my husband as well, a lot of negativity built up, because why? I was playing the blame game. I was blaming everyone for it. I was saying that nobody understands my pain because no one has gone through the dukkha that I've gone through. I'm not going to speak about it because no one will understand. You don't know what. So this was the kind of conversation I would have with myself. So I was so closed up, I wouldn't talk to anyone. So my husband, so this is where Sangat is so important. And I mean the right Sangat. So when I came to Kuala Lumpur, where I was studying, my husband introduced me to a camp, to a group of Sangat, to a Pai Saab, who really worked on me. This is why Brahmgyani Sant Mahapurukh are so important in your life, because they know what is wrong with you from within. I'm not saying mentally, but from within what is wrong, and they can work with you. So he worked with me and he showed me that this is all negative thinking. You're not allowing you're not opening up yourself to Vaheguru, to Guru Sahib, to Gurbani, and allowing, to look at all these things in a positive mindset. So I think it took me a year plus to just work on this negativity built up in me and finally let go of it. So I would say sometimes, and we can't realize it ourselves because akkhan te parda paya hoya, like that parda, that's it. I'm there are still people, right, even now, even in my family as well, there's still people like that who think that their dukkha is the worst dukkha in the world and no one else has gone through the dukkha, so nobody will understand them, so they just keep it to themselves and go down the road of negativity. Sangat is, that's why, very important. You have to open yourself up, and somebody who is realized will help you to see and clean that mirror for you and see that, hey, dekha, you're building up the negativity, which is not good for your physical health as well. So go into Sangat and seek for help. Can you please advise me how to transform myself as I tried harder to change myself? I want to give up my nature. I got angry many times without any reason. Speak harsh. I try to change myself but unable to do. Sorry, Vijay, you know why I laugh? Because I was also an angry person. This is a funny story. Because of all that negativity built up in me, I became, like I said, Hannah, I became angry with everyone. And so I had a temper issue. So but it took me many years to work on that, to reach to where I am now. Again, a lot of life's experiences, dukkha, the physical pain, the cancer, really got me thinking, do I really want to waste my energy on this negativity, on being angry, So I was in Canada, and then many of you will know Pagaji, Pagajaswan Singh Ji. And now so my husband brought us there because my husband somehow knows all the Mahapuruk that are in every part of the world. I'd be like, Enna no jaake marna. And I see we and the other would be like, ek aur ne, who are these people? And so we went to meet Pagaji, and then because I was the only Bibi there, all the Singhs were there, and Pagaji was sitting outside. Me passe begi, like I was sitting like in a blind spot. And then, so Pagaji was speaking to my husband, and then he my husband mentioned, oh, this is my wife and all. So Pagaji looked at the corner of his eyes, and he said, Bibi ji, joro thanu gussa charda, tusi ki karde? And I was like, Baba ji, asi lambi saah lene ya. And he looks at my husband, he says, good Bibi. So I guess it works, because then, what I do when I get really angry is that I just take a really long, deep breath and I walk away from that environment. So I know, but to be able to do that, you must be very conscious that you are about to get angry. So you must be very conscious of your mind. You must be very conscious of your emotion that, okay, this has happened and it has triggered, and I'm about to get angry, and I do not want whatever is going to happen when I get angry. I don't want all that to happen. So what do? You need to pause your mind. So how you can pause your mind is take a long, deep breath, because your mind pauses when you're breathing too fast, your mind works double the speed. So slow down your breathing, your mind slows down, and if you need to, just walk away from that environment. Okay? And it will take a lot of practice. I'm also still working on it as well. So breathing exercise really help. And then another one is Gurbani. What Guru says is Farida Bureda Palakar Gussa Manna Hadai. So have these panktiyan memorized. So that's why Guru Sikhs will say Bani Gantha Paisa Gantha. Right? So these are like ready weapons to shoot your mind and say, like, Farida Bureda Palakar. I mean, not in that tune. I'm not saying in that tune. But Farida Bureda Palakar Gussa Manna Hadai. Talk to your mind. Dehi rokla lage. Look at that. If you don't get angry, you're not going to hurt yourself, because just by getting angry, you're going to increase your blood pressure, you're going to get headache, you're going to start feeling hot, and you're not doing any good to yourself. So talk to your mind and do the breathing exercise. It's 1:29 a.m. here in Malaysia. We're sorry to keep you up from sleeping. A Kalpurk bless you in all the sangat. Yes, it's 1:30 baje. Okay, no, I don't say 1:30. 1:30 baje. Okay, don't make fun of me saying 1:30. I'm not really familiar with the date. Is it 2:30 baje, 1:30 baje? But yes, it's quite late here. But I guess it's an achievement. I didn't yawn, but I guess it's because all of you have been keeping me up with really interesting questions. Thank you so much for that. Some of the questions, I'm very sorry, I really do not know how to answer, like this homosexuality. Some I do not have opinion because I've not thought about it as well, like sukha and all of that. So forgive me if I didn't address your questions. I think by Harman Singh Ji and the other Pracharaks, they would be better in answering these questions because they're more experienced. So I just can speak from my own life experiences. So thank you so much for being very engaging, and I hope you learned something. Forgive me if I said anything wrong or something they don't understand. So thank you, everybody.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Panji. Everyone, please follow Panji on Instagram at Gurudiprit Kaur. So please follow her Instagram page and follow Basics of Sikhi Southeast Asia as well. Thank you so much, Panji. Do you have any feedback or final thoughts for the Sangachi here?
No, I think everybody's amazing. This Discord channel is amazing as well. So keep it up.
All right.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,
Khalsa,
Waheguru Ji Ki
Vaheguru Ji
Fateh.
Ki Fateh.